The coffee in my cup had gone cold hours ago, but I couldn't move. On my laptop screen, Melissa Chun, my former best friend, former business partner, former sister in everything but blood, smiled her megawatt smile at the talk show host. So tell us about Thrift Flow, the host gushed. Forbes called it the app that revolutionized sustainable shopping. How did you come up with such a brilliant idea? Melissa laughed, that tinkling sound I'd once found charming. Now it made my stomach turn. It was one of those lightning bolt moments. I was cleaning out my closet, looking at all these clothes I never wore, and I thought, what if there was a way to connect people who wanted to refresh their wardrobe sustainably? What if we could gamify thrift shopping? Genius, the host said. Pure genius. And now Thrift Flow is valued at $300 million, Melissa supplied smoothly. But it's not about the money. It's about changing how people think about fashion and sustainability. I finally moved, reaching for my phone. My hands were steady as I scrolled through my photos, past 3 years of memories, until I found what I was looking for. The video was right where I'd saved it, in a folder marked Naomi's Birthday 2021. The party where everything had started. Thrift Flow was my brainchild from day one, Melissa continued on the screen. I lived and breathed this concept. Some people said I was too obsessed, but when you have a vision. I hit play on the video. There we were, sitting on Naomi's deck, wine glasses in hand. Melissa looked younger, her hair longer, wearing the Stanford hoodie I'd bought her for her birthday. And me, excited and nervous, pitching my idea to my best friends. Okay, hear me out, Past Me said, pulling out my phone to show mock-ups I'd spent weeks creating. It's like Instagram meets Goodwill meets Pokemon Go. Users can upload their clothes, trade with others, earn points for sustainable choices. There are challenges, local meetup swaps, a whole gamification system. Sophie, that's. Past Melissa paused, then laughed. Not the polished laugh from the talk show, but a dismissive snort. That's stupid. No one will ever use your idea. Why not? Past Me asked, deflating. Because it's too complicated. People don't want to work that hard just to get used clothes. If they want thrift, they'll go to Goodwill. If they want convenience, they'll shop online. This weird hybrid thing? It'll never work. The video continued for another 12 minutes. 12 minutes of me explaining features, showing wireframes, sharing market research. 12 minutes of Melissa picking it apart, calling it unnecessarily complex and doomed to fail. You should stick to your day job, Past Melissa concluded. Leave the app ideas to people who understand tech. The irony burned. I was the software engineer. Melissa was in marketing. I saved the video to my desktop, then opened YouTube. My channel had maybe 50 subscribers, mostly family and friends who felt obligated to watch my occasional coding tutorials. That was about to change. The upload took 3 minutes. The title took 3 seconds. The real origin of Thrift Flow with receipts. I added a simple description. Since someone seems confused about who created Thrift Flow, here's a video from the night I pitched it. The same night my best friend called it stupid. 3 months later, she launched her app. You do the math. Then I hit publish and went to make fresh coffee. By the time I got back, the view count was at 500. I refreshed. 1,200 refresh. 3,000. My phone started buzzing. Texts, calls, notifications. I ignored them all and opened Twitter instead. The video was already spreading, shared by tech Twitter, startup Twitter, and most devastatingly, sustainable fashion Twitter. This is the tea we needed today. The way she straight up stole her best friend's idea. No wonder Thrift Flow felt so soulless. It was built on betrayal. An hour in, the view count hit 100,000. That's when my phone rang with a number I knew by heart, but hadn't seen in 2 years. Take it down, Melissa said without preamble. No hello. No pretense. Good afternoon to you too, I said calmly. Enjoying your media tour? Sophie, I'm serious. Take down the video. You're going to destroy everything I've built. Everything you built? I laughed, surprised by how steady my voice was. You mean everything you stole? I didn't steal anything. Ideas evolve. You had a concept, I refined it. You called it stupid. On camera. Then 3 months later, you launched my exact app with my exact features, using my exact gamification system. It wasn't exact. Level up for swaps completed. Rare item alerts for designer pieces. The treasure map feature for finding specific items in your area. The closet cleanout challenges. Should I continue? Silence. Then, we were friends. Best friends. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything to me, I said quietly. That's why it took me 3 years to post this. 3 years of watching you on talk shows, reading profiles about your genius, seeing you win awards for my work. Do you know what that's been like? You could have been part of it, she said, switching tactics. I tried to bring you in. As a junior developer. On my own app. After you'd already raised $2 million using my pitch deck. That's business, Sophie. You were too naive to execute. I did what needed to be done. No, you did what benefited you. There's a difference. Take down the video, she repeated. Or I'll sue. For what? Posting a video I filmed at a private party? Good luck with that. Defamation. Slander. Interference with. Truth is an absolute defense, I interrupted. Ask your lawyers. Oh, and Melissa? Check the view count. I hung up and refreshed YouTube. 1.2 million views. The comments section was exploding. But more interesting were the responses from tech journalists, venture capitalists, and intellectual property lawyers offering their services pro bono. My email dinged. A message from Raul Gutierrez, the first investor in ThriftFlow. We need to talk. Are you the real creator? Then another from TechCrunch. We'd like to interview you about your story. And another from the sustainable fashion blogger with 5 million followers. Please let me help you tell your side. But the one that made me smile was from my old boss at the software company I'd left to support Melissa's launch. Your job is still here if you want it. Plus back pay for the consulting you clearly did on ThriftFlow. Call me. The view count hit 3 million. Twitter was having a field day. #ThriftFlowThief was trending. Someone had found Melissa's old LinkedIn where she'd listed me as co-founder of ThriftFlow before editing it out. Screenshots were everywhere. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, then recognized the area code. Silicon Valley. Sophie Walsh. The voice was crisp, professional. This is Amanda Liu from Sequoia Capital. We'd like to discuss your next venture. The real one this time. I don't have a next venture, I admitted. You will, she said confidently. Anyone who designed ThriftFlow has more ideas. And based on what we're seeing, you're someone who deserves actual support, not theft. We talked for 20 minutes. By the time I hung up, I had 3 meetings scheduled for next week and a strange feeling in my chest. Hope, maybe? Or vindication. The video hit 5 million views. Melissa had gone dark on all social media. ThriftFlow's official account was being bombarded with demands for explanations. Their stock price, they'd gone public 6 months ago, was starting to wobble. That evening, Naomi called. Sweet Naomi, who'd hosted the party where it all began. I still have the original video, she said. The full 2 hours. Including the part where Melissa asked to see your business plan, just out of curiosity, and you emailed it to her right there. I never deleted it. You recorded the whole party? I was testing my new camera. Sophie, I'm so sorry. I should have said something when ThriftFlow launched. I couldn't believe she'd actually done it. Send me the video, I said. Please. The full video was even more damning. There I was pulling up my laptop, showing Melissa my detailed business plan, my financial projections, my development timeline. Her taking photos for reference. Her asking specific questions about implementation that, in hindsight, were clearly intelligence gathering. This is really comprehensive, Pass Melissa said. You've thought of everything. You think it could work? Pass me asked hopefully. No, she'd said flatly. But the documentation is impressive. Very thorough. Thorough enough to steal wholesale, apparently. I uploaded the full video with the title. The complete ThriftFlow theft 2-hour director's cut. This time, I didn't have to wait for views. The internet was primed and ready. Major tech blogs embedded it immediately. The story exploded beyond tech Twitter into mainstream news. Founder exposed, the ThriftFlow scandal. From best friend to worst enemy, a Silicon Valley betrayal. Watch, the exact moment a $1 million idea was stolen. By morning, the original video had 15 million views. The full version had 8 million. Melissa's PR team had released a statement calling it a misunderstanding between former collaborators and claiming parallel development of similar ideas. Nobody was buying it. I'd turned off my phone overnight, but when I powered it on, I had 847 missed calls. 2,000 emails. More interview requests than I could count. But the message that mattered was from my lawyer, one of the IP specialists who'd reached out. We've reviewed both videos. You have an ironclad case. Thriftflow's own Git repository shows the first code commit was 3 weeks after your party. They built your app line by line. We can prove it. I was reading the message when my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw Melissa. She looked terrible. No makeup, hair unwashed, wearing a wrinkled t-shirt I recognized as one of mine from college. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. 20 million views, she said hoarsely. Do you know what you've done? Told the truth. Destroyed me. The board is meeting today. There's talk of removing me as CEO. The investors are panicking. 3 partnerships have already pulled out. You destroyed our friendship first, I pointed out. I'm just returning the favor. I'll make you a deal, she said desperately. Co-founder status. Retroactive equity. 30% of my shares. Your shares in my company? Sophie, please. We can fix this. Release a joint statement. Say it was a misunderstanding. That we developed it together, but had a falling out. Melissa, stop. I held up my hand. You had 3 years to make this right. 3 years to call and say, hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong, you were right, let's build this together. Instead, you went on talk shows and literally said you lived and breathed this concept. I did live and breathe it. After you showed it to me, yes, but I'm the one who executed. I'm the one who made it real. With my idea, my design, my features, my vision. Vision doesn't mean anything without execution. And execution doesn't justify theft. She stared at me, and for a moment, I saw the ghost of my former best friend. The woman I'd shared everything with. Who'd held my hair back in college bathrooms and cried with me through breakups and celebrated every win like it was her own. I was scared, she admitted quietly. You were always the smart one. The technical one. I was just the pretty face who was good at talking. When I saw your idea, I thought this was my chance to prove I was more than that. You were always more than that, I said. I would have built it with you. We would have been perfect partners. Your marketing genius, my technical skills. We could have done it together. I know, she whispered. I know that now. We stood there in my doorway, 3 years of lies and theft and broken trust between us. What happens now? She asked. Now you face the consequences, I said. And I move on. The lawyers. We'll handle everything. Melissa, you need to go. She turned to leave, then paused. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. I know it doesn't mean anything now, but I'm sorry. I watched her walk away, shoulders slumped, probably heading back to face her board and her investors and the collapse of her stolen empire. Then I went inside and called Amanda Lou back. I thought you'd call, she said. Have you given thought to your next venture? Actually, yes, I said, surprising myself. I have a new idea. And this time I'm building it right. With the right people. The right way. I'm listening. As I pitched my new concept, something I'd been quietly developing while watching Melissa live my dream, I felt the weight of the past 3 years lifting. The video had crossed 20 million views. The internet had delivered its verdict. Justice, in its viral way, had been served. But more than that, I was free. Free to build again. Free to trust again carefully. Free to be the founder I was always meant to be. My phone buzzed with a notification. Thriftflow's stock had dropped 30%. The board had called an emergency meeting. Melissa Chen was trending worldwide, and not in a good way. I turned off the notifications and focused on my call with Amanda. The past was finally past. The future, my real future, built on my ideas, my terms, was just beginning. And this time, I was keeping all the recordings. Just in case.